Games, games, games. Games, games, games. Games, 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 games. Games, 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 games. Games, 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 games. Games, 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 games. Games, 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 games. Games, 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 games. Games, games, games. Game, game, games, games, games. Games, 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 games. Games, games, game, 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 game. Thank you for that. Lost my mind there for a second. What was I talking about? Oh, yes. Let's take a look at what we've got for this year's Summer of Games. I said thank you, that's enough. As ever, PlayStation is starting us off, promising us over 60 minutes of top quality content. And they're not messing around this time, as they begin with an in-depth look at the new Wolverine title from Insomniac. While overall plot details are still very light at the moment, we can see that Logan is traveling the globe, hunting down various anti-mutant militia and freeing more of his kind. An extended sequence shows how Insomniac has adapted the familiar Spider-Man gameplay to fit the former Weapon X, with combat and stealth mechanics now having a more visceral edge to it. There's plenty of violent combos, environmental takedowns, and brutal executions, with character models retaining their battle damage. There's also a heavy heaping of X-Men characters for Wolverine to interact with, including Jean Grey, Sabretooth, and Omega Red, who I swear I never see in anything nowadays. We finally have a release date of September 15th, so we don't have too much longer to wait to get our adamantium rage on. That's a pretty good start, Sony. What else have you got? Oh, a racing game. Right, not my bag, but it's kinda neat. What is it, a new Forza or Need for Speed? Wait, is that Kit? A Knight Rider game in 2026? That wasn't on my bingo card. Well, hang on now, why has everything gone all Mad Max all of a sudden? Wait, the DeLorean from Back to... What the heck is going on? Oh, it's the return of the Stuntman series. Okay, I thought I was going mad for a second. Stuntman Hollywood, huh? Well, there's a blast from the past. Who's gonna show up next? Ikumi Nakamura? Oh my god, it is her! The most kawaii developer in the entire world is back, and just as adorably energetic as she ever was. This time with a new studio, Unseen, she's showing off more of their first new title, Kimuri, where players will explore a massive sprawling city riddled with supernatural spirits named yokai. As a yokai hunter, in single player or free player co-op, you'll track down these wayward spirits, battle and capture them, and form contracts with them to evolve your abilities and style. It's kind of like Pokemon, except you have to kill Gengar in order to become Gengar, I think. I don't know. I'm just glad to see Ms. Nakamura is happy and healthy. Her infectious energy can make even the grumpiest of curmudgeons crack a little smile. And don't wait too long to visit us again, okay? Elsewhere on the show, we got games like The Lost Wild, the latest title from Annapurna that feels a lot like Alien Isolation, but with dinosaurs. New characters announced for Marvel Tokon, including Doctor Doom, Magneto, Green Goblin, and Carnage. Until Dawn 2, a sequel to the popular survival horror game from 10 years ago. Rayman Legends Retold, a reimagining of the popular platforming title from 13 years ago. More news on Dynasty Warriors 3 Complete Edition Remastered, a remaster of the popular Musou title from 25 years ago. And Tomb Raider Legacy of Atlantis, a remake of the original action-adventure title from 30 years ago. Are you feeling old yet? Of course, Sony couldn't leave without surprising us with one more thing. And that one more thing is 20 minutes of uninterrupted gameplay showing off a brand new entry in the God of War series, currently in development. This time, Kratos is taking a backseat as you take control of his recently deceased wife, Faye, as she finds herself in a place called the Everywhere, a realm that serves as the afterlife for the gods. Faye discovers her plans to protect her family are now at risk, and to ensure their safety, she must battle against ruthless gods hailing from many different mythologies, with swift, intense combat, beautiful yet foreboding environments, and incredible performances from the likes of Deborah Ann Wool and Jack Quaid. God of War Laufey looks set to keep this franchise alive and ticking. Well, I must say, Sony, you put your big boots on this time, striding in with confidence with so many great titles even beyond what I mentioned. You really want people to know that PlayStation is the place to come for some top quality games. Yo, are you gonna do that for the whole video? Oh boy, somebody get me the Tylenol. From there, we transition to what has quickly become one of my favorite presentations for the summer, the Accessibility Summer Showcase, where disabled game developers get to show off their titles made with disabled gamers in mind. As usual, the show is hosted by Laura Kate Dale on her YouTube channel Laura K Buzz, with American and British Sign Language and audio described versions available as well. Let's not waste any more time and see what's on offer this year. Canvas of Thoughts is a game about a character that I can relate to quite well. You play as Evie, an 11-year-old girl who is simply trying to navigate a world that at times can feel too loud and confusing to her. The game is made with the focus of giving players an insight into the mind of a neurodiverse individual, with gameplay, puzzles, color palettes, and even audio all designed with that intention in mind. The standout aspect is its emotion-based gameplay, where dialogue choices aren't based on what you say, but by what mood you want to convey, which influences both your inner state and how the world responds to you. As someone with autism, I appreciate the effort in trying to make a game that describes the thoughts and feelings of a neurodivergent person in a way that doesn't feel overly preachy and forceful. Here's hoping that this one catches on like wildfire. Hurdles is an open-world title inspired by Zelda and Spyro games. Ow, where you explore an expansive landscape as a magical dog. Controls are kept simple and consistent for ease of access, which means no leveling up skills or gaining upgrades that fundamentally change the playstyle. Instead, you'll interact with the titular hurdles to gain contextual abilities allowing you to bounce, glide, swim up waterfalls, and more. The game also features platform snapping and ledge guard options for those who struggle with 3D platformers, and an autosave option for some of the more trickier puzzles. With no restrictions on where you explore next, and no combat encounters or death penalties, this could be a great alternative to some of the more challenging 3D platformers out there. This next game is super weird. No, seriously, that's what it's called, super weird. It puts you in control of a series of robots that, while infinite in numbers, have very limited memory and can only perform one command at a time. As you explore the world, you'll discover more resources that will help you upgrade your bots and prepare for the dangers that lie ahead. The interface is made easy to adjust with several different options and sliders, including colorblind schemes, UI scalers, text-to-speech functions, and remappable controls with single button click options. It's a cute little game that can be played in single player or multiplayer, so maybe worth keeping an eye out for if you're looking for a good time with a few friends. Piecewise is a simplistic puzzle game that adds new puzzles every day. It offers great flexibility in terms of difficulty, but also dares players to challenge themselves. See, the puzzles themselves are relatively easy, but you'll have to complete them within a time limit. Now, you can adjust the timer to something you're more comfortable with, but that will result in a bigger multiplier being added to your overall time. And the first time you play a new puzzle, that score gets added to an online leaderboard. That's the real beauty of this game. It allows you to set the pace for how you want to experience it, but also encourages you to go a bit further and push yourself. More games really need this mentality. There's just too many great titles with thoughtful ideas to go into massive detail about. Other highlights of mine include Highway Noir, an arcade racer which features tone tags to denote a character's manner of speaking. Frame of Mind, a walking simulator with options to skip some of the more heavy and sensitive story parts. The Tennis Academy, an anime-inspired tennis RPG featuring a virtual cane used for identifying objects with a text-to-speech function. On that same note, there was a section dedicated to this year's Games for Blind Gamers. Ow, but that's what it's called! And a 2D platformer specifically designed for players who struggle to play 2D platformers, literally called an unplayable game. So if anybody ever tells you that nobody wants to make an unplayable game, you can point to this and say, somebody did. Seeing the incredible ingenuity here and hearing the testimony from the various disabled gamers and game developers always leaves me amazed at how much I take for granted in my own gaming life. Like, I'd never thought about how important it is to have a function where you don't have to constantly press down on a button. Something as simple as that can mean the world to some people. I'm continually amazed at what new innovations are being made to bring gaming to a wider audience. This show continues to inspire me. I'm already looking forward to next year. Live from the YouTube Theater in Los Angeles, it's time for the opening ceremony of this year's Summer Game Fest. Oh, you're not gonna hit me this time? Why not? I said game. Oh, I think I've got it. I can say the singular game as well as gamer and gaming, but not the plural games? Yep, that was it. Jeff Keighley is our Master of Ceremonies again, alongside Lucy James, various game developers, including this mustachioed marvel, and... Okay, I think you whacked me on the head too hard this time, because that looks like Snoop Dogg on stage. Wait, that is him? The mother effing D-O-double-G? Huh. Well, what's he doing here then? Ooh, is he gonna announce a remaster of Def Jam Fight for New York? Sadly no, but he is involved in the new RGG studio title Stranger Than Heaven. Set in the same universe as the Like a Dragon franchise, the game follows Japanese-American orphan Makoto Daito across several decades, showing his rise to prominence and the eventual foundation of the Tojo clan. The reason Snoop is here is because he's one of the cast members in the game, alongside Tupac? Tupac's in this game? Man, that joke I made last year about a So Solid Crew RPG sounds much more plausible now. Alright, let's get back on track. What else is there to talk about? Oh yeah, the dapper gentleman from earlier is from a new development studio called That's No Moon, who are working with publisher Smilegate to produce the next entry in their Crossfire series. Simply called Crossfire, this game deviates from the franchise's normal approach, as it is a single-player, third-person tactical shooter, where two mercenaries from opposing forces must work together to survive the dangers that lie ahead. The main thing they've been touting about this game is its adaptive cover mechanic, where the player character will dynamically adjust their stance in reaction to the terrain and the enemy's line of fire, opening up more possibilities for intense stealth encounters. Combine this with stunning graphics, precise gameplay, and a compelling story, this might end up being something worth watching out for when it eventually arrives. Sonic the Hedgehog is celebrating his 35th anniversary this year, and as part of that celebration, new content is coming to Sonic Racing Crossworlds. Along with the previously announced DLC packs to include the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Avatar The Last Airbender, we get our first glimpse at what Year 2 has to offer, including new tracks and racers crossing over with Godzilla and Evangelion. And speaking of crossover, they also announced a neat little indie title, Sonic Pico Park, a chaotic multiplayer puzzle platformer. I just got done playing this game with my friends, so I'm looking forward to when this game comes out and the madness can begin again. Speaking of madness, here's a bright and colourful game where two ducks have to carry an egg through a series of increasingly more difficult obstacles. As the trailer shows, this isn't as simple as it sounds, as even one slight misstep can result in utter chaos. And what do you call this extremely hard game? Well, just that, an extremely hard game. For a quick roundup of some of the other highlights, there are two new Cuphead titles heading our way, a new hand-animated game still in development, and an 8-bit style platformer called Mighty Cuphead Adventure, coming to all modern consoles and PC, and the Sega Master System. No, that is not a joke. We've got two more Star Wars games coming our way. Ow. Galactic Racer, a modernized pod racing title, and Zero Company, a turn-based tactics game. Paramount announces their new game studio and are teaming up with Platinum for a game I thought was long since dead, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles The Last Ronin. We've also got news of a remake for Resident Evil Code Veronica, a sequel to Alien Isolation, and new characters coming to Street Fighter VI, including Yasmin, Arjun, Bosch, and guest fighter Tifa from Final Fantasy VII. And if you thought that was the only Final Fantasy news you were getting this year, you thought wrong. Closing out the show, we got an extended look at Final Fantasy VII Revelation, the much anticipated third game in the FF7 remake trilogy. Series director Naoki Hamaguchi and Vincent Valentine voice actor Matthew Mercer take to the stage to discuss the game, which continues on from the events of Rebirth and will cover the remaining story points from the original 1997 game. Players will now get to freely explore the world and skydive into any location using their airship, the Highwind. The combat system has been refined to perfection, with a brand new equipment feature that allows you to change a character's appearance as well as alter their skills and abilities. And Vincent Valentine and Sid Highwind are now fully playable, with Sid battling with his trusty spear and Vincent making use of his firearms and alternate beast form. Best of all, we finally have a release date, or at least a release season, of spring 2027. So if you haven't had a chance to check out this amazing trilogy, now might be a good time to start before the saga comes to its conclusion. Well, you did it again, Jeff. You've managed to keep the spirit of E3 alive with another incredible showcase. There's definitely plenty here to keep us gamers satiated with a wide variety of games for everyone. Ow! You know, I'm really starting to dislike you. Can you at least give me a break for this next section? Thank you. Maybe now I can enjoy the Wholesome Direct in peace. And I should be safe here because all of these games have the same thing in common. They give you sweet, cozy vibes and relaxing gameplay with zero stress whatsoever. And I could definitely use a calm down, so what have you got for us? Milky Delivery is a short and sweet adventure game where you travel across picturesque landscapes delivering milk to the villagers along the way. As you progress, you'll get to know your customers, take care of your pet cow Milky, upgrade your bike, and experiment with new flavors. And as you learn more about the region and its people, you may just uncover the mystery of what happened to all the other cows. Dungeon Tourists takes the familiar gameplay from titles like Pokemon Snap and puts a new spin on it. Up to 4 players can travel along the tracks of these procedurally generated dungeons, taking photos, getting rewards, and adding to your encyclopedia. Don't be afraid to interact with the environment to get better photos, discover each floor's story, and unravel the secrets of the mysterious agency behind it all. Dressmaker is not like other fashion-based games. It actually looks good. Inspired by real-world dressmaking, you'll meet a wide variety of clients and create the perfect dress for them. Take their measurements, adjust your mannequin, and then go wild in creating whatever fabulous designs come to your mind. As you build your relationship with your clients, you'll earn prestige that gives you access to more fabrics and accessories, meaning even more freedom to create the ultimate dress of your dreams. Here's a bunch of quirky people, and here's their brand new game, Hidden Folks 2, a sequel 9 years in the making. It's a Where's Wally style point-and-click puzzle game where you have a checklist of items to look for. The game's charm lies in its minimal art style, the fun animations that play when you click on objects, and that all the music and sound effects are done a cappella. There is a great deal of charm to this game, and I'm all here for it. There is a heavy heaping of farming sims this year, but the one that stood out for me is 4 Leaf Fields, and that's purely based on the premise that you are a very tiny person. Your crops are the size of houses, you raise bugs and snails as if they are cattle, and there's a whole massive world to explore with up to 4 players. Plus all the usual farming sim trimmings all wrapped up in a cute pixel art style, and yeah, this one looks like the most delightful of the bunch. And that's not to say that all the other farming sims are bad by comparison. There are a lot of good ones out there. In fact, maybe there were too many this year. It felt like every other game on show was some variation on a farming sim with its own little quirk. There's one where you're a vampire, another where you're in a frog town, one where you use dragons, one where you turn into beasts, and even updates for sims that are already out. Again, I have nothing against farming sims, I've played my fair share of Stardew Valley, but when it comes to the Wholesome Direct, I want to see a wide variety of ideas, like fixing the internet in space, building tiny models out of wood, being a hairdresser for a bunch of beast folk, traveling in the wilderness with a friendly deer, or solving mysteries with a talking cassette player. Hopefully next year we tone down on the farming sims and we see a much more diverse selection of games. Ta-da! This section is not over yet. And now it is. I hate you. Coming up next, we have the future guy. You know what? I'm just gonna call this the FGS Summer Showcase, because goodness knows I have enough trouble pronouncing that name without Wacky McWackson here. This year's hosts are Alex Wilton Regan, the new voice of Lara Croft, and Troy Baker, the voice of, well, take your pick. He's been in practically everything. Grab a random game from your collection, chances are he's a voice in there somewhere. Anyway, enough of that. What has the show got for us this time? For the horror fans out there, 2 legends of the silver screen make their return from the dead. First is the already announced Halloween the game, with a focus this time on the single-player campaign. This puts you behind the mask of infamous serial killer Michael Myers, as you relive the events of The Night He Came Home through his eyes, stalking the residents of Haddonfield and discovering what led to him taking on the mantle of the Shape. If that's not to your taste, try Clive Barker's Hellraiser Revival, a survival horror action game based on the popular horror series. Use your wits, weapons, and the infamous configuration to solve puzzles, battle the demonic Cenobites, and rescue your girlfriend from the depths of hell. Okay, how about something more light-hearted? Wheelmates is a fun co-op puzzle adventure where you and a friend take control of a couple of RC cars to search for a missing professor inside his home and laboratory. Each new room feels like a massive playground with so many places to explore and so many secrets to uncover with your various tools and tricks. Seems like a good time, and with a friend pass included too, one that won't break the bank either. Defender of the Crown, The Legend Returns is a remastered version of a classic strategy title where you wage war against enemy forces in an attempt to unite the territories of 12th century England. There are 3 ways to experience this game. Retro Mode, which preserves the original 1986 version in all its glory. Classic Mode, which updates the game with modernized graphics, and Kingdom Mode, which provides a whole new roguelike challenge, including dice and deck building mechanics and procedurally generated maps. 3 ways to play and 1 land to rule. Stake your claim and wishlist it now. Now, the lift is something that really stood out for me. In this game, you play as a mechanic sent out on a repair job to a massive research facility. This is just one of those games that feels really satisfying to play. There are lots of different things to interact with, and every interaction has a great feeling behind it. From pushing and pulling levers, to flipping switches, to rotating wheels, to fitting in screws. There's a deep satisfaction to just fixing something and seeing it work. Every item crafted, every minigame solved, every mechanism repaired, all feeding into the bigger project at large. Again, it just seems like a very satisfying game to play. I definitely want to keep my eye out for this one. In other areas of the show, we had Dear Van Gogh, Goth, an MMO of all things based on the legendary Dutch painter, with an art style that tries to capture his work. Engine 4, a survival crafting shooter set on board a massive mega train. Realm of Ink, an action roguelite game with an ink painting art style. Skate Stir, a Tony Hawk's inspired skateboarding game featuring new skate sensation Stir Maya. Chronoscript The Endless End, a Metroidvania that takes place inside an illustrated manuscript. AGX GP, a sleek futuristic racer clearly inspired by the Wipeout series. And My Cannibal Family, a theme park sim where you build attractions to lure in customers so you can kill them to feed to your family. On second thoughts, maybe I'll play Marsupilami 2 instead. It certainly seems a lot more lighthearted than Hooba. Again, this was just another great showing with another great set of guests. I don't really have anything left to say, so let's just move on. And now we come to the... Look, can I just say this one without you whacking me on the head, please? Thank you. The Xbox Games Showcase. And of course, be sure to take extra care and responsibility when playing the Xbox Showcase drinking game. Although be sure to pour one out for Phil Spencer, as this is the first showcase without him since departing the company earlier this year. He's now replaced by new CEO Asha Sharma, who by all accounts seems to be doing a good job, even if all she's done so far is say, "We won't do all the things that made you hate us recently." It's a good start in my books. And a good start to the stream is some gameplay from the upcoming Gears of War E-Day, which is set to be an Xbox exclusive. Yeah, those are back now too. There was a dedicated direct for the game that aired following the main showcase, but here we were treated to a little preview showing Marcus Phoenix and the crew battling the Locusts during the early days of the Emergence. The gameplay appears to be the same as it ever was, which is not a bad thing, and features a lot of set pieces, including a shootout in a supermarket. It is weird to see these guys running around in civilian clothes. I am so much more used to seeing them wearing over-the-top battle armor. And speaking of over-the-top, here's a novel idea for a first-person adventure. Magicians The Devil's Deal follows a young man named Jacob, a stage magician betrayed by his colleagues and cast into a hellish realm, but the devil himself presents Jacob with an opportunity to get even with his backstabbing former brethren. Gameplay seems to offer an interesting twist on the first-person shooter genre. Not only are all your attacks magic-themed, but it looks like you can perform a few reality-warping tricks as well. We'll just have to see if this has the magic to stand out from the crowd. What stands out for this next game is its art style. Vivarium is a slice-of-life sim that follows a young girl named Jenny as she wanders around the local town, discovering secrets, crafting new recipes, and interacting with the local townsfolk. The way this game has been designed to capture the spirit of an anime from the 70s is quite remarkable, from the hand-drawn animations to the occasional flex and artifacts that really make it feel like a TV show from a bygone era. This must have been a real labor of love to produce something this authentic looking. I'm glad that older stars like this haven't faded away just yet. Speaking of old, that's kind of the theme of this year's showcase, as Xbox is celebrating its 25th anniversary. And of course, as part of that celebration, they have to show off a limited edition Xbox Series X and controller, which is modeled after the original Xbox's translucent green design. And yeah, this thing looks sick as hell. A great tribute to the early days of the brand, although it would be really cool if they went the whole hog and made a controller in the style of the old Duke design. Imagine young gamers today trying to work with a beast like that. I'd love to see that make a comeback. In fact, comebacks is kind of the other theme going on in this showcase, as most of the announcements come from long-standing franchises. Halo Campaign Evolved is a remake of the original console's flagship title, with improved visuals, mechanics, story and level designs, and 3 brand new missions set before the main campaign. Castlevania Belmont's Curse celebrates that franchise's 40th anniversary with a whole new game that follows the exploits of Rose Belmont. The Fable revival is still on its way, with a showing of a new character, Isabelle, played by Hayley Atwell. State of Decay 3 is still kicking, Microsoft Flight Sim has US national parks now, there's brand new DLC coming for a return to the madcap world of Crazy Taxi. Even Spyro is back with a brand new game that might also be open world. Man, Xbox is delivering on all cylinders today with an incredible cavalcade of captivating games. Oh, I think you missed me that time. But I did tell you to be careful. Heck, I'm even willing to forgive Xbox for ending on another Call of Duty game, which I'm not into personally, but I'm sure that fanbase is happy with it. Still, I'm a little disappointed in you, Atlas. All these big reveals and all you have to show is another reminder of Persona 4 Revival? I mean, that's cool and all, but couldn't you give us something more juicy to get excited about? Guys, I think Xbox just won. Rounding things off, we have the Nintendo Direct, and quite prompt this year too. I guess given the success of the Mario Galaxy movie, they want to keep the momentum rolling as long as possible. Now, I should note that they did give us a Direct back in May, focused solely on a new entry in this Star Fox series. And by new entry, I mean basically a remake of Lilac Wars, for like the third time now. It does look pretty good though. Graphics have been vastly improved, and additional features have been added like extended cutscenes between levels and a much larger multiplayer suite. My only minor nitpick was the design of the characters. They feel a little bit too realistic to me. Not quite as bad as, say, the original movie Sonic design, but still a little head tilting. I'd prefer a slightly more cartoonish look for them. But it is a nitpick, and I'm sure I'll get used to it. It's nice to get a modern remake of this game, but couldn't you have given us something new for this series? Or at least remake a different title? Like, say, Star Fox Adventures? Okay, it's a Zelda knockoff, but I liked it, and it is something different. But hey, that was May. What does the proper Direct have for us? Well, it has the first spin-off title of the Splatoon series, Splatoon Raiders. This time the focus is on a single-player adventure, although up to 4 players can play cooperatively. As a member of the crew Deep Cut, you'll be hunting for treasure across the Spiralite Islands, exploring the various locales, and battling the enemies you find there with your numerous gadgets that you can customize to fit your playstyle. It's the same kind of Splatoon gameplay we're familiar with, just refined for a more straightforward adventure, and more details will be revealed in a specially dedicated Direct later on. Not into that? Okay, well, if you fancy something a bit more sporting, how about a return trip to Woohoo Island with Nintendo Switch Sports Resort? This game makes use of the Joy-Con 2's gyroscope feature and includes 12 sports to test your skill at. Classic sports like archery, table tennis, bowling, and golf, and new sports like skateboarding, power cruising, pop plane, and thumb wrestling. We even got a demonstration of that game with Koizumi-san, and yeah, it sure is something. Okay, I gotta be honest, this Direct really isn't doing that much for me. It's not bad exactly, I'm just a little bit underwhelmed by everything. There are some really good things on here, like Final Fantasy Resonance, a brand new title for the series done in HD 2D, and it looks absolutely gorgeous. Ninjala 2 looks incredibly fun, with an amazing looking open world to goof around in. Rhythm Paradise Groove now has an RPG story mode of sorts where you can perform combos and cast spells to the beat. And Orbitals, oh dude, I want this game based on the 80s anime visuals alone. Never mind that it's a fun looking 2D co-op game. This is good stuff. But most of what was on show here was either teasers for stuff we already knew existed, or ports of already released titles coming to the Switch too. Devil May Cry 5, Dragon's Dogma 2, Lies of P, Metaphor Fantasio, Stellar Blade, Minecraft, freaking Minecraft! Heck, the DK Challenge event literally feels like Nintendo telling us to just go online and play more Donkey Kong games. Ow! Good for you. I just didn't feel like this was Nintendo's best. But to be fair, some of these ports did come with new game announcements. Ish. Xenoblade Chronicles 1, 2, and 3 are all getting Switch 2 releases, with the first one already out now. And that was followed by a teaser trailer for a brand new title, Xenoblade Genesis. Also coming to Switch 2 is a collection of all 3 collections chronicling the entirety of the Kingdom Hearts saga. And following that, we suddenly get more new footage from the next game in the series, Kingdom Hearts 4, showing Sora battling the Heartless in what I presume is Tokyo or somewhere inspired by it. Missing in action for years and this is where you show up? Who do you think you are, Silksong? And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that the very last thing that was announced was the long-rumored remake of The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, which is apparently set to come out this year. Hey, wouldn't it be funny if this was so popular it made GTA 6 back off another 6 months? Ow! Alright, I deserve that one. And this brings us to the end of another year of glorious gaming goodness. While things may not feel quite the same as they did years ago, I'm still enjoying getting to see what manner of delights were being brought to us every single year. Hey, why don't you guys let me know what this year's highlights are for you? What titles astounded you? What presentations did you think were the best? And what announcements made you go, oh yeah, that's a thing? Thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you again for next year's Summer of Games. Will you stop that?
No.